Welcome to the Local Love Podcast. You got Tony,
Sam,
and Manny.
and Manny. We got our special guest here,
Special. Tommy.
Tommy.
Tommy Gonzales.
Tommy, thanks for
Everybody's
joining.
special on here.
Yeah. That's why you get the barber chair.
That's right.
I was noticing
Yeah,
that.
you get that little bit of a higher seat, so it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
we call it the hot seat.
The hot seat.
We call it the hot seat, and we try to give some hard questions, but it doesn't end up happening that
Never
way.
Is there any hot wings involved?
I wish. I wish.
Hey,
Chetos.
We also do a speed round, which is the slowest speed round you ever hear about, because we get into one
it's called
topic
the
and we never get to the
school
second question.
zone speed round.
That's cool. I've done speed dating, and that was real slow, too. So
That's interesting.
I think we'll be good.
Sweet dating.
That's cool. That's cool. So, hey, Tommy, thanks for joining us. And we were just kind of chatting a second ago, but definitely, so you run your own barbershop, right?
I have two barbershops. Correct.
Two of them?
Yeah, we've
Okay.
got two locations
Nice.
in downtown San Antonio.
Okay, what's the name of your barbershop?
Puro Handsome Barbershop.
Puro Handsome Barbershop. Nice.
Sick.
Nice. And that's where the connection comes from, right? You know Sam.
Yeah, Sam and I we knew each other through like social media, and I think we actually met volunteering at Erica's gig at
Jefferson
at
Bodega.
Jefferson Bodega was the first time we actually met.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Sam's been following. Sam knows that I'm a volunteer in the community as well,
Nice.
and I have a project called Barber Sabbath that is a volunteer initiative as well. It's kind of been on ice for a minute,
Okay.
just due to running two shops and getting things off the ground, and COVID put a big pause on all that too. So we'll see how soon we can get that back up and running again.
So what was that exactly?
Barber Sabbath it was my idea that selfishly it was how I decided it was going to be the easiest way for me to cut more hair and to get more experience. I've only been a barber for just coming up on 5 years, so I haven't been doing this forever.
Yeah.
Despite my being long in the tooth and all the grays, but yeah, I haven't been at this game for very long.
Okay.
So experience matters.
Yeah.
And I found it in the beginning really hard to like connect with the local barber businesses and the barber shops, and I wasn't finding. I guess everybody saw me being older and expected me to like have more experience than what I actually had.
Yeah.
So I found a lot of people really impatient and not really understanding what I was trying to do. So rather than continue that cycle, I became a volunteer at Haven for Hope and just decided I'm sure there's at least 20 people a day that I could give haircuts to so that I can get better and get more practice. And like I said, selfishly, that's why I started it. And ultimately, it ended up like I became friends with all of them, and it ended up pulling on my heart to like,
That's cool.
you got to come back and do this more consistently. And that's where that came from. The idea is that Sabbath is known as a day of rest, but it's also defined as a annual party at midnight by witches. So that seemed kind of rock as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
Kind of metal. So I kind of went with it, and I'm a big Black Sabbath fan as well. So
I figured there was a little tie to that. Yeah.
And the logo is like an image of Ozzy holding a clipper and a comb.
Yeah.
So from Volume 4, and I'll get you guys some stickers and shirts.
No, that'd be cool. That'd be
But
cool.
anyway, but Sabbath also was my idea. This is where we really like bring it back home. Sabbath is like our day off, right?
Yeah.
Our day of rest. And I figured when I was cutting hair, I was only doing this for 2 hours a day, right? So I started thinking, man, I don't need every barber to go do this every Monday like I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But if every barber just did it one Monday a month, just for 2 hours on one day off a month, we could make a big difference.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people that could be helped.
Yeah.
If just every barber just took it upon themselves, just one day off, take 2 hours out of that day off, and go do something in your community. You don't have to go to Haven for Hope.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that. Just go do something in your community. Go give back, and don't expect anything back from it. And man, the more and more you do that, it's like you deposit into a goodwill account for yourself.
Yeah.
That when things get tough, you tend to draw on that.
Yeah.
So that's where that came from.
You know,
That's beautiful.
Yeah, man, it's so cool because there's two things that really jump out to me about that. One is like your thought process of I have to get better, but I can do it by helping out someone as well, right? Because I mean, like you said, like in this type of craft, and I'm not a barber, but I know with Sammy and you guys experience, the more you do it, the better you get at it with like anything.
Yeah, muscle memory.
And sometimes like people
Confidence,
don't,
too.
and people don't always want to be the first one in the chair, but if you're volunteering, you're doing stuff, And so it's like a give and take thing.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm only 5 years into this, and I would look at people. I mean, 5 years now, but when I started this, I was still only like 2 years in, you know what I mean? I was still pretty green, and I would look at people who had 9, 10, 15 years of experience, and I'd look at them with like so much admiration and so much respect that they were able to be in that position. Like, I dreamed of owning my own shop, but I was also terrified of like, what if somebody comes in and they want to drop a really low drop razor fade? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, that's not my cup of tea right now.
Yeah.
But how can I even consider owning a shop and not being ready for that?
Yeah.
So I was like, I gotta, ponte las pilas.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, you gotta figure it out.
You gotta go do it. Yeah.
And you gotta, and you are huevo, you gotta make it happen, you know? And you gotta get those experiences. And that's what it was. It was really me, being afraid of like looking like a chump, you know what I mean? When I had my own shop, that I was like, that can't happen. That's not an option.
Well, and I think sometimes people don't think about that. Like, that's just you practicing your skill, perfecting it, getting better at it. And it's like kids that go to college, they find internships because you learn book stuff, but you got to put it to practice. So you may not get paid much. You may be doing some crappy work sometimes. It's like copying stuff and stuff, but you're getting that experience, and you went and did that for yourself.
I'm a big believer and I've also been a barber instructor. And I've also, for what it's worth, I want to make this point. Like, I wouldn't be able to have done any of the stuff I've done if I not had good mentors.
Yeah.
Like, I've always counted on mentorship.
Yeah.
That's always been, and in barbering, there's a lot of opportunities to be a good mentor. And I have discovered and I found there's a lot of opportunities to blow it.
Yeah.
An opportunity to be a good mentor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I found that was more the norm.
Yeah.
Like, people willing to blow it than to embrace it.
Yeah.
So I decided I was not going to be one of those people in this community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I decided right then and there, and that put the onus on me to like step it up as well.
And that's kind of cool because
even though I didn't really find a mentor in the barber industry here, I did seek them out internationally.
Yeah.
I traveled to London to go take lessons with people that I really respected and admired their craft and saw that they brought something different. I went to Canada. I've been to Mexico City. I've traveled out to Southern California. You know what I mean? To not look for mentors, but to try to take as much as I could.
Get some ideas.
Because when I come back and I was teaching, I found myself that I was a position where I was becoming a mentor to people. And that really kind of, that turned the table for me.
Yep.
And it kind of, I don't want to say I was like in a woe is me, I never found a mentor. I was like, maybe I wasn't meant to find a mentor because I had to find it in myself to like step up and make sure that I didn't drop the ball for somebody else who was looking for what I was looking for in this industry.
No, I completely, I think that's a great story, and I completely agree, because I know I was talking with Sam, and sometimes, like, I mean, something that someone may be watching our podcast and thinking is like, you guys are bringing another barbershop on here. Why? And it's like, why are you bringing competition? Because we don't see it as competition. There's so many heads in San Antonio that you can have a barbershop on every corner, and they're still planning for people to do
I
that.
only have 5 chairs. I have 5 chairs between my 2 shops. There's only so much we can do. There's enough heads for everybody.
Exactly.
I did have a very, very good teacher, and she taught me probably the most valuable lesson in this barber game, and that is, you get the clients you deserve. 100%, you get the clients you deserve. You put in a half-ass effort, you're going to get half-ass clients. You put in 100%, you're going to get por vida clients. It just happens.
No, you're completely right. That's why, like, when we're talking the models and stuff of when we were built, because it's his passion. I'm more on the business side, right? I work for corporate America. I do all that stuff. But when I saw his
many years in corporate America,
So when I saw his passion for it, we kind of always said, hey, let's do something together, and we were talking about it. But that was one of the things. It was like, I've seen so many different businesses, and you can do the butts and seats, get them in, get them out, and that's all you're doing. And then you get, you can do well for a while, you make a quick buck, and then your reputation gets out there because you're doing crappy stuff.
Right.
Or you can do the slow pace, take your time, give them an experience.
It was like this lady, she came in, I'd say like 5 months ago, and someone referred her to me, and she came in, I cut her son's hair twice, and on the second time, she was just like, because she sits way over here. So I'm back here, and she's like, when you cut like it's art. And I was like, when it took me back, so I was like, huh? And she's like, oh, I didn't mean to offend you. I was like, no, it just threw me off a little. Right. Like, she was like, yeah, like you don't cut like you're just trying to get someone out the seat. Like, you take your time, you make sure that it's nice and neat. And like, she's like, we haven't had anyone like that. And it's like, and that's the thing, like people will tell, like they can tell, like if you're just trying to get them in and out, like even just the way you talk to them.
100%, man. One of the other things that I didn't mention before, after I was in broadcast TV for like 16 years, I owned a record label.
Nice.
I went to Europe and I did that for 3 years, and I lived in Berlin, Germany, and I was single American guy, record label exec, and I was sick. It was fun. It was a great time.
Those are the after dark stories.
But
put your kids away. We're about to get into good stuff.
Podcast.
Put some kids away. I'm not going to talk now. But it was a situation where I'd done media my whole life. I started working on TV when I was 16 years old. It's all I'd ever done. You know what I mean? It got to a point where all the experience, like I recognize this in music and festivals and live music, it's still an experience. Like, you still have to be there. You know what I mean? And I've produced live shows, and I've done streaming concerts, and I've been part of a lot of like big productions and music conferences and stuff like that. And it's still not the same as being there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Still not the same as being there. So that always stayed with me while I was frustrated in the record industry. I was at a meeting at the Soho Hotel in Berlin, so super posh. They were giving us gin and tonics in the middle of the day, and we were eating really, really fancy little sandwiches with cucumbers, and you know what I mean? And I'm saying, hi, love, how are you, love? It's good to see you, love. Yes.
Doing the two kisses on the cheek.
2 kisses on the cheek with the boys and the girls, and it's all love, right?
Yeah.
And it's a Spotify dog and pony show, and they're telling us, how to work metrics and how to launch stuff. And I've worked with new artists, so I'm paying attention and I'm listening, and I'm like, man, I used to sell TV shows, and I used to sell advertising, and I used to work in a metric called cost per millions, and your math is really, really sus.
Yeah.
Like, I don't trust your math. You know what I mean? And then after enough of that, I started to get offended by it. Yeah. And after enough gin and tonics and not enough cucumber sandwiches, you start to get kind of cabron, you know? And finally, I just said, "Sabes qué, güey? I'm done." And I walked out of that meeting. I walked out of that room, and I didn't stay for the pool party afterwards. And that probably was a bad idea, but it was. I walked out, and my friends that were my peers in the industry are looking at me, and I'm giving them the sign like, "Meet me at the bar, meet us at the spot." And I was like, "When you get out," and I was like, "All right, fine, I'm out of here." So I go to my favorite like beer garden spot, and I get kind of lit, and I'm still like pissed, and I'm still upset, and I'm still really jaded, and I'm still really dismayed about everything that I've done, because this was supposed to be what I wanted. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like Desde niño, I was like necio. I wanted to be in bands, and I wanted to tour, and I wanted to be a booking agent, and I wanted to be a promoter, and I did all of that. The only thing that I hadn't done was that I hadn't done my record label. And now here I am, and I finally have it. Yeah. And we're doing music videos, and we're shooting videos in Iceland, and we're shooting videos in Norway, and like I said, gin and tonics and cucumber sandwiches, and none of it's making me happy. I'm more miserable than I've ever been my whole life. Wow. And then it hit me. While I was there, I did one of these. I was like, man, I need a haircut too. Like, I was pissed. Like everything was this beer sucks. Yeah. Like, nothing was going right. Yeah. And I started thinking, I was like, I need a haircut. I hate getting a haircut in the city. This city sucks. There's no place to get a good haircut in Berlin. I gotta wait till I go to London. I was mad. There was nothing good happening for me. And right then and then I was like, hey, you know what? You can't download a haircut. No. I was like, I'm killing myself and fighting with the record pressing plants and trying to meet deadlines, and I'm pleading and begging with distributors, and then I'm talking to record stores, and nobody knows what I'm talking about every time I call, and it's just complete chaos, and everything is just like, here, ¿sabes qué? Wait, here's another one.
Yeah.
Here's another one. ¿Sabes qué? ¿Quieres más? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Every
yeah,
step I tried to take forward to like make my dream happen was like, véngase cabrón, I got another one for you. You know what I mean? And finally I was like, I gotta stop this.
Yeah.
I'm bleeding. I'm all cateado. Like I got black eyes. This is not fun anymore. You know?
You're gonna bleed out.
Yeah, I was about to bleed out, and I had to stop, and I had to stop. I just everything came to a halt, and from that place I like emailed and texted all the artists that I was involved with, and I was like, I'm done. Whatever contracts we have, I'm gonna try to sell them out, or you're released from. If you owe me money, no hay pedo. Like I'm done. I want out of this. I want out. Because then that gave me a reason to travel to London or to Manchester to go meet with somebody who we had a collaborative deal, and I had to go let them know that I was done. And I was like, awesome, because when I get to Manchester, I'm gonna get a haircut. You know what I mean? So I kept thinking about this, and then the haircut just mattered more and more and more. And then that's really like what kind of drove it home for me, and like really like made me say, why don't you do this? Why do you keep talking about it? And why don't you just learn how to cut hair, right? And the way I grew up, like, school was very, very important to my family. Going and getting a good job and doing stuff, and like, man, I got started working in broadcast when I was 16. I don't want to say I was an overachiever, but like, I went places and
it's
did
okay.
things.
You could say you were an overachiever.
But I went and did everything and anything I ever wanted to do in that industry. Like, La neta, I did everything that I imagined that I could do and wanted to do, and I had a blast, and I made really good money, and it was fun, and I made lifetime friends, and I don't regret it at all. And it was time to like create a new identity. You know what I mean? And it was go time, and I figured now's the time. It's as good a time as any, right? How hard can it be? So I just cut all my ties with the record industry and the music industry, and said,
"This is it." Huh?
Going to barber school, and I didn't even know where I was going to go to barber school yet. So I moved back to the States, and I came to San Antonio, and I checked out all Super Web 1 style. I checked out a few, and they're all like, "Yeah, it's 1,500 hours. It's 1,500 hours." And then, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna give this a pause." And then I was like, "You know what? I like when I lived in Berlin. I really fell in love with my bicycle. And also, I didn't want to get ripped off by bike mechanics by not being fluent in Berlin over there. So I kind of learned how to like wrench and fix my own bike. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to a bicycle mechanic school in Oregon. I was like, this seems like I need a vacation. I need a break. This seems like a cool project. So I go to Oregon to go do this bicycle mechanic school, right? And while I'm up there, I do this walkabout where I go explore Washington State. And I have been in these places with bands, but it's like you go in one night, you sound check,
it's
you
different.
Eat,
it's a lot different, of course.
you play, you load up, and then you take off to the next city, right? You don't get to see anything, do anything. So I was like, I've been to Seattle and I've been to Portland, but I don't know anything about it other than like the venues that I've been to. So
you just know that little block right there.
And then also like total nerd love. Like music was super big to me. Obviously, I started a record label. The Pacific Northwest like punk noise scene of like K Records and Kill Rock Stars and bands like Unwound, and Unwound was who Nirvana like wanted to be. You know what I mean? So like they were super noisy. Super my onda, and they were from a little town called Olympia. And like I used to look at Olympia like it was like this magical place where like everybody was a rock god and everybody was super cool and everything was super cool, you know? And then I get there and I'm like, no, it's just a sleepy little Pacific Northwest town. But for whatever reason, I'm having coffee at Olympia Roasting, and I'm kind of just checking it out, and I decided to get on my phone. And I was like, I wonder if there's a barber school here. And there's Olympia Barber School. And I was like, it's right down the street. So I'm like, let me go check this out, right? So I'm in Olympia, Washington. I'm the only brown dude in that coffee shop.
Makes sense.
I
Makes
could
about
imagine.
sense.
The only brown dude in that coffee shop.
You're the espresso and they were all the cream.
I was dark as the espresso in there. So I go to this Olympia Barber School and I walk in and I'm all woo, there's a brother, there's a camarada, there's a nesse. I was like, all right. And I was like, this is where you guys are.
This is where you've been hiding. They're not at the coffee shops, they're at the barbershop.
It's a little like 6-chair barber school, and I'm like kind of just, and then this lady comes out to me and she's like, hi, you looking for a haircut? And I was like, no, I'm actually kind of interested in barber school. And she's like, okay, well, we're going to start a new session in 6 weeks. And here's a brochure. And my name is Maria. And if you have any questions, here's my number and this and that. No. And I was like, okay, cool. Right. And then I go back to my car. I go back to Ashland. I finish bicycle mechanic school. I come back to San Antonio. And then I'm like, hey, Miss Maria, this is Tommy. Go ahead and save a space for me. Yeah. And within 6 weeks, I packed up and like decided to go. Oh, also, I was like, how many hours is it? And she's like, it's 1,000 hours. I was like, yes.
Nice.
I was like, that's 500 less than Texas. Yeah. I'm going to go do it over here. So, and then I started looking at reciprocity, and they were like, Washington would transfer to Texas, but you needed to have it active for 2 years. So I was like, I need experience. Let me go get my license, and I'll cut in Seattle or in Olympia, and I'll live out. This will be a 2-year chapter of my life. Yeah, and then I'll come back to Texas. Yeah, but then I was thinking, why am I coming back to Texas? I'm going back to Europe. Yeah, but now that I know how to cut hair, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go do this barber thing, and that was the plan. Yeah, and everybody knows that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? Yeah. So lo and behold, that didn't happen, and now here I am with 2 shops in downtown San Antonio. But nothing ventured, nothing gained, and everything's an adventure.
Yeah, right.
Hey man, that's a great story, because it's
an
like
amazing story.
So much different turns and changes, and sometimes people are just so afraid to take that chance, and you're like going from place to place, checking it out.
I was looking for it. Yeah, something was gonna hit me. Yeah, something was gonna stick with me. Something was gonna be really, really obvious. I didn't know what. I just had to believe it.
So you did 2 years in Seattle or in that area.
Yeah, I worked in Seattle.
Then you came back to San Antonio, and then what said, okay, I want to open up my own shop?
No, it wasn't like that. Okay. I started. I'm a big believer in this. I teach my students and anybody who's willing to listen about. There's like 4 stages of what's the word I'm looking for? Not proficiency, right? But I guess 4 stages of ability. Okay. Right. So stage 1 is you come in and like just imagine a quadrant, like tic-tac-toe, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. And you've got stage 1, and you don't know what you don't know. You don't know anything, right? You are oblivious. You are completely ignorant, and it's okay. Yep. You don't know anything, right? Stage 2, you know a little bit, and you're a little bit successful, but you still don't even know why you're doing it right or what you're doing, but you're doing it well enough to get some confidence. Yep. Yeah. Right. And then after a while, and this is where it gets dicey. And I think a lot of us, you being in corporate America, have probably worked with people like this, and you working in the barber industry, I know you've worked with people like this. You get to the point where you know how to do just enough, but not too much.
Yep. You described a lot of
people. You know just enough to not get in trouble. You know just enough to not put yourself out there. You know just enough to be just enough. Yep. Right. And you don't care either way. Yep. That's quadrant 3. Then quadrant 4, stage 4 is where you know what you're doing and why you're doing it. There's no guesswork anymore. Yeah. There's no moments of ignorance anymore, and there's no moments of unintention anymore. Yep. Everything is done with intention, everything is done with passion, and everything is done with purpose. Yep. And when you learn to operate in that quadrant, and you're doing something that you enjoy, or that brings you joy, man, that's a beautiful thing to happen. Yeah. And that's I really consider myself lucky. I will go out and say that I think that's something that not a lot of people get to experience in their life. Yep. And I consider myself very lucky, and I don't want to be all like, oh, barbering saved my life and this and that. No, I just found something that like really, really mattered to me and gave me a voice and gave me a position and gave me a place to be purposeful and to act with intent. That's cool. And to do something with passion. Yep. Without any guesswork. And without even any effort, really. Yeah. It's just cool that all the stuff you're saying, because like when we were starting up the barbershop, that was one of the things we talked about. Like when we're trying to come up with the name, we're saying like Local Love, but what is that about? And we're like,
it's funny. We take it from our dad's knuckles. So our dad has Loco Love tattooed on his knuckles for no reason at all, or at least no justified reason.
He had a nickname in the West Side. It was a Loco Joe.
Yeah.
And so then he was high. As a kid, he was high, and he told him to tattoo Loco Love on his knuckles. Yeah. And that's how he got. Now we have the name.
So we took that, but then one of the things we were talking about, we're like, okay, we know you have a passion for barbershop. I have a passion for business. I love I've always small business trying to figure something out. Yeah. And then we're like, you know what? This has to be a lifestyle. It has to be and so like our whole motto is like Loco Love, God, community, and passion. Like, what's your passion? And then figure out how do you help the community and figure out how do you turn that into a business, right? Because you can be passionate about something, but you could not make any money at all on it. You got to find that borderline of making money, but still be your passion where it doesn't become a monkey on your back.
I remember having a discussion with this barber. He's a really cool dude, but like we're talking about selling pomade, and he's like, "Well, I didn't get into this industry to be a salesman." I was like, then you would be cutting hair for free, you liar. I was like, no, man, you can still have passion and still make money off of it.
Listen, as barbers, I don't care what anybody says, you're selling yourself.
Exactly.
You're selling yourself. Yep. And if you think you aren't, man, you're sadly mistaken, and it's time to open your eyes and grow up and pay attention to what's happening.
Yeah. And I think that's almost in any industry if you look at it the right way, because you were talking about that 4 quadrants. When you're in that 4th quadrant, you come to realize no matter where you're at, you're selling yourself and abilities. If you trust, you know your abilities, your process, you can make jumps to different industries, different things. And people will say, well, you don't have experience in this. It doesn't matter. I know this, this, and this. And so I can apply it anywhere I go.
That's what I said, look, man, I was like, you know why I sell this pomade? It's because I use it. I say, and the people that sit in my chair, I'm going to tell them to use it because I know it works. I was like, so it's different from just some dude walking up and trying to sell you a truck or a car. I was like, it's way different. Like you're telling your people, like, this is good stuff. And that's like, it's not just like, oh, I'm just going to try to make a buck off of you. I'm like telling you, this stuff works. Like I use it. And you know, like we go through all types of pomades until you find, and then some, like, you know, sometimes you just start making it.
Yeah.
I got to the point where I was buying other pomades and I was looking at the markups, and then I started doing the math on what if I had it manufactured myself, and I was like, whoa, hold on a minute. Wait a minute. Nice. Wait a minute. Let's look at this one more time. Yeah. And I was like, no. Yeah. I'm not selling anybody else's brand anymore. Yeah. And I'm not that I'm against anybody else's brand. But there's no need for me to sell anybody else's brand right now. Yeah. And I'm very fortunate that I found a manufacturer that was putting out a product that was very good. Yeah. Very, very good. And I'm very happy with it. And we're not trying to expand too big. And I still haven't even like fully launched it because I want to make sure that I've got all my ducks in a row. Yeah. Because if I do this, like I want to end up on the shelves of H-E-Bs. You know what I mean? Like this is more than just barbershop. This is more than just a pomade. This is something that people use. Yeah. This comes from Texas. This is manufactured in Texas too. Yeah. So like there's a lot of pride and there's a lot of we've talked about it already, passion. There's a lot of passion behind this. Yeah. And purpose. Like I said, I did the math. I saw what it was like, and I'm not there isn't a brand that I have encountered that I actually don't like. Yeah. You know what I mean? What I don't like is what they sell it to me for. Yeah. If there's anything I don't like,
that's facts.
It's what and what I have to sell it to my people for to make that money. You know what I mean? That wasn't working for me. Yep. You know what I mean? Could I do it? Absolutely. Had I done it? Yeah, I had. I'd done it for other shops. I'd done it for other shop owners. Was I going to continue doing it? No, because now I was like, now I got my own shops. Yeah. This is I can just make this decision now. Yeah. And it was scary. Yeah. It was scary, and it's not easy. No.
That's what I was going to ask you. So you seem like you're pretty well versed, man. Like you've been
called worse.
You've been places, you've done things, and so how would you encourage somebody, man, to get to the point to where you're at right now, man? Like what would your words to be to encourage somebody?
First of all, don't compare yourself to anyone. Mm-hmm. Don't try to say I want to be where they are because
you can't say you want to be like Loco.
You don't know anything. You don't know anything about me other than what I've decided to show you.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Yeah. And for what it's worth, I take my business very seriously, and it's easy for me to be sincere in my business. I don't have the patience to be fake in my business. You know what I mean? I don't have the energy for it. I'm 46 years old. I'm tired, man. Like I don't want to do that. So first of all, the first piece of advice I would say is don't make comparisons. Don't make comparisons. 2, listen to that voice. And you know what I mean when I say listen to that voice. Listen to that voice that's calling you out. And entertain it, you know what I mean? Draw back at it. Be like, ¿tú qué quieres, cabrón? What are you here for? What do you get? ¿Por qué andas chingando? You know what I mean? And listen to him when he tells you, I'm here, fool, because you're half stepping. You're not taking full steps. Why aren't you taking full steps? You gotta say, you know what I mean? But like, I would say, like, that would be my second advice is listen to your gut, man. Listen to your gut. We don't do that enough anymore. We don't do that enough anymore. And there's many times where I didn't and I dropped the ball. There's many times where I did and I still dropped the ball. But I learned.
But that's a part of it, right?
But I learned. I got back up. I got back up and I tried it again. And I came at it with new knowledge and I came at it with a new perspective. So the third thing I would say is, don't be afraid to fail, man. Failure. There's grace in failure. Because you come out the other side a little more refined.
Squeaky clean. Hello.
You come out a little shinier. You come out a little more slick. You come out a little more svelte. You know what I mean? You come out a little more animalistic. You know what I mean? Like, you find out who you are. You find out who you are and what you're made of and what you're willing to put up with and what you're willing to tolerate. Because I found myself when I first started here and working for other shop owners and working for other shops, I didn't have it. I was gonna lose it. I was gonna lose it. I was too smart for this. I was too smart for this to be operating at this subpar level. And to feel good about it. And every time that I tried to like step up, it was met with like snarkiness, smart ass comments, disdain. You know what I mean? And you just get to the point, and I would remember like, man, I used to look at these people 10, 15 years in experience, and I was like, man, forgive me, but you ain't shit. I don't look at you the same way anymore. And this is why I say stop making those comparisons. And I started listening to myself, and I found all the answers I was looking for. I found all the answers I was looking for. And some that I didn't need to. That's how you learn. That's how you learn. So those 3 things. Don't make comparisons, and if you are, pay attention to why you're doing it, and then ask yourself the next question. You know, why are you half stepping? Why are you sitting here making comparisons instead of moving forward?
Go and do it.
Why? And also, man, don't be afraid to talk to people. Because that's also part of failing. You're gonna meet people who don't want to have anything to do with you because you scare them. You scare them with your passion and with your enthusiasm, and they don't know what to do with that. And they're afraid th're gonna make them look bad.
They're that third.
They're that third one. Like, hey, baja tu pedo, man. You're gonna ruin everything for us. You know what I mean? And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I'm. It's not about us, man. Like, you got your clients, I got my clients. It's about me. How can you make what I want to make? How my wanting to better myself about you? And you know what I mean? And I was like, that's where I was like, nah. That's why I was like, I'm too smart for this. I'm way too smart for this.
And like the failure thing. That's how, like, when I got into barbering, so, you know, they just pretty much throw you on the floor, and like I just started cutting. I was like, people were like, man, like, because I sucked. They're like,
quadrant 1, man. We all suck.
And they're like, you're not worried about, like, I was like, man, the worst thing they can do is try to fight me. I was like, I've failed enough in my lifetime to know that failure is going to happen regardless. I ain't going to get better if I don't fail. And I was just like, screw it. And like, literally, like, people would, hey, you know how to do a shadow fade? Nope, but we're going to find out today. Like, I'll tell you. And I would go to the front. I was one of the guys that were always in the front. I ended up,
man, when I was in barber school too, like, and I was that, like like eager beaver, teacher's pet. I would sit in the first chair right by the front door.
Yeah.
And somebody would come in, and like everybody else would scatter. You know what I mean? And I would be all, yes, sir.
Like, come on, let's go.
Come on,
Yeah,
let's
do
go.
it.
Let's do
My
it.
chair's right here, ready for you.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, Miss Maria, I need you. You know what I mean?
I know. I didn't.
I was like, bro, I don't know how to cut hair, but we're gonna do this.
Dude, I remember
You couldn't deny my enthusiasm to
Nice.
make you happy.
I had one guy, he walked off my chair. Someone else had to cut him. I went to the front and I told that lady, and she was like, "You okay?" I said, "Yeah, I want more haircuts like that." And she was just like, "You serious?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "How am I gonna learn if I can't
That's
finish
facts.
his haircut?
Facts.
And how am I gonna learn?" I was like,
That's
"Keep
facts,
giving
bro.
him."
That's the thing. Yeah, you
That's
gotta.
facts.
Real talk, man.
Yeah,
like
that's
I
facts.
said, like, man, when I first started, like skin fades used to scare me. Low ones would terrify me.
Yeah.
And I went to Haven for Hope, and they'd be all, I was like, oh, what you want, my man? He's like, just shave it off. And I was like, you want to fade? he's like, you can
let me
fade?
practice.
And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, let me practice on it. Right.
Eventually, yeah. But
I think that's one of the things. Like when you get into that fourth quadrant you were talking about, like that's when you start betting on yourself.
oh, that's where it gets
And-
fun,
and-
man.
and-
What do you think
yeah.
of launching like a product line? And
Yeah, I was just about to
yeah.
say. So
This-
what's
yeah.
next for you?
This
Because
is
I know
all betting on myself
Yeah.
because I'm like, let's. I like the odds on me.
that's why you know what when my brother was telling me about you coming in and stuff. Like we were talking a little bit, and he told me a little bit, but like a lot of the stuff you said, we hadn't talked that much about like all the stuff that you were doing, and I'm just like, man, because that's what we talk about, right? We're like, the barbershop's just a start. Like we're like, okay, we got the business bug. Let's we're gonna try different things. We're gonna look at different things, work with different people, and then kind of just building that. So it's cool to hear like your story about it as
Like,
well.
Yeah, man. And like what's next is probably a school
Nice.
because I want to teach. Everything's changing.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that within 2 or 3 years, Texas probably won't even have a haircutting license anymore.
Really?
If you're not aware, there's not going to be a barber
they're
license
pushing
and a
it.
Cosmo license anymore. There's just going to be one license for everybody.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And they already did away with the instructor license. You don't need an instructor license to teach at a barber school anymore. The owner of the school can decide if you are a licensed barber, then yeah, I like you teaching at my school or not. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
you don't need to be a licensed instructor anymore.
Wow.
Which is really unfortunate because that was the one part of the program where they actually did have some academic aspect of it that
So-
taught
so-
how to manage a classroom and how to lead a group.
Yeah.
And if you aren't teaching people how to do that, I'm really, really, really terrified of the next generation of barbers that are coming
Yeah.
out of schools where they're not being taught
Yeah. All the stuff.
in this manner. You know, I mean, they're going to be taught everything on how to cut a hair, how to cut a head. You know what I mean, and how to shave, and how to do pin curls, and all that. Everything that's craft is going to be learned. But how are they going to learn that it's still a people business?
Yeah.
It's still the product. The product is that person's confidence and smile and how they feel when they leave here.
After you give
the
me a
product,
haircut. Yeah.
the product as a barber really is that person going out and telling another person.
Yeah.
My boy Sam at Loco Love.
That's
fire.
advertising,
That's
too.
aside from advertising.
Yeah.
That's your product.
Yeah.
Andale.
Advertising is when you are doing something.
See.
Your product is your
Andale.
client. Your
Yeah.
product is out there doing
Yeah.
what it's supposed to be doing.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not a billboard. This is somebody who you touched. You made them feel something. And they are such a fan. They're such a fan of you. They're so impressed by you that they're willing to talk to other people
Yeah.
about what you're capable of doing with these clippers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I had a coworker that was coming down from Fort Worth area, and they had booked with Sam to get a haircut, and they were going to a water polo game here, and all the kids are from there. Well, this kid apparently always had messed up haircuts because since they moved from California, they haven't been able to find a good one. And it's like all the parents were like, "Hey, are they open on Sunday?" Which we were not, but they were like, "Are they open on Sunday? I want to get my kid a haircut. We don't
Yo,
live
Sam,
here,
you're
but I
open on
just
Sunday."
yeah." I was like, "Sam, we need to open up. Let's double chart." But it was just like, but you're right. It's a walking billboard. It's your product. It's your pride. That's what's going out there.
And it's that connection. Like I connected with that kid like a lot. I'm pretty sure you get this a lot. Like I'll have people sit in my chair and they're just like, "You're the first barber to talk to me. You're the first person to ever try to get to know who I am." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's weird, man. They should talk to you." Like they're so concentrated on their fades, that they forget that that's a person.
Yep.
And I tell people all the time, that person can probably fade better than me, but I can take their client because I'll connect with that client.
Yeah.
And that client, and honestly, I've had clients tell me, they're like, dude, some guy cut my hair better than you a long time ago. But when I came into your chair, like, there was just something about you, and I was just like,
that's a big, everything that goes into Puro Handsome is the result of asking myself, answering the question of, like, men have to go get a haircut.
Yeah.
Right? You have to. If you're not going to buzz it yourself or have your wife buzz your head for you, you got to go to someone who's going to do it, right? Yeah. It's just something that's got to happen. Whether you like it or not.
What you may miss it up yourself, or your wife may miss it up.
But what I'm saying is, like, there are people who enjoy going to the barber, and there are people like, I got another meeting, but I got to get this haircut. You know what I mean? Like, that's their attitude.
Yeah.
And those are my favorite.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite because those are the ones that I'm like, fool, you didn't have to be here, but you chose to be here.
Yeah.
You really want to be anywhere else in the world, but you're here in my chair right now, and now you're mine.
Yeah.
And you're going to smile before this is over and done with.
Nice.
And you're going to make your next appointment, and you're going to come back.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I rib them. I tell them, I was like, listen, dog, that was way too long. Let's just make your next appointment now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. That's just one less thing for me to worry about. What day are you looking at? Let me put it on my calendar.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And they're all rough and gruff. And and I'm like, you big old softy. Like, I was like, man, I have sold $5 million deals to people who were scary.
Yeah.
You're not scaring me. You know what I mean? You're not scaring me. So, those are my favorite, is the people that like, the haircut is just something that has to happen. And like, they could go anywhere. They could really go anywhere. They don't even care if their haircut's good or not. They just need the haircut. But the fact that they come to me, that's where I was just like, that's what I enjoy.
Yeah.
I mean, I love all of my clients, and I have people who are like, dude, I've been looking so forward to this because I want to talk to you about this. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. And that's cool. And I love them. I love seeing them, but it's the ones that are, is this going to take long? I don't know, man. Maybe. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I love giving them attitude too. You know what I mean? How long did it take last time? Well, just counting it being twice as long as last time. I go back to work. But I love, because like I just let them know, like, dude,
let that serious. Calm down.
Yeah, let it out. Let it get it all. I'm right here, dog. Like I'm right here. I'm your boy. I'm your boy right now. So, you know what I mean? And we offer beverages in the shop, and you know, I really enjoy having a small, intimate atmosphere in the shop because, like you said, they can go anywhere. And honestly, I love it when my clients can't book with me and book with Esteban.
Yeah. Yep.
That means that as a shop owner, I've done my job better than I could have imagined. Like, as a barber, I'm doing my job by keeping my book full. Yeah. But as a shop owner, I've got people who have been coming to me for years, confident in the people that I've selected to work in the shop and to do a good job. You know what I mean? And I love seeing that. Like, they look at me like, I'm not cheating. I'm like, bro, you're here. You're here at Puro Handsome. That's all that matters to me.
That's kind of the next step we're at. Like, we're actually looking for a new barber and stuff like that. But we've been very selective because it's like, we've tried a couple people and we're like, you're not the right fit. Like, it's not going to work because it's about the brand. It's about the people, the experience. And you have the wrong person that blows everything. You know?
Team, you know, when I used to do sales, man, my sales manager and my GM used to come up with like a lot of like really, really cheesy analogies. And I'm sure your time in corporate America, you've heard your fair share. But like, the only one that ever really stuck with me was like, my broadcast mentor would say, like, you got to choose the people. He's like, he was really, really dramatic, but he's like, when we're out there and we're fighting for market share, like, we're at war. Mm-hmm. We're at war. Like, people are coming at us. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We're coming at people too. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And we're trying to take that flag, which is the client. You know, we're trying to take market share, and we're trying to go from 20% market share this quarter. We want 35% next year. That means that 15% is going to come from somewhere else. You know, and that's not going to come easy. Yeah, so be ready. You got to fight, and we're going to war. And he used to say, like, you got to make sure that you have the people that you want in the trenches with you.
And that's what we kind of talked.
I was like, this guy
that's
is
cool.
super dramatic. Yeah. War we're selling that.
Saving Private Ryan.
But now that I'm older and I'm thinking about it, I'm just like, you know what? He's not wrong.
Yeah.
He's not wrong. You know what I mean?
Gotta have someone that you can trust to
And then
have
I
your
think
back.
about it, and I was like, man, I was in some trenches with people who probably would have shot me in the back of the head.
Yeah.
You know, and I've worked with people like that too, and I've worked for people like that.
Yeah.
That were threatened by like my wanting to do a good job, and they're the shop owner, and they were like, "Hey, baja tu pedo." I'm like, "Hey, no," because I'm not doing anything wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Not today.
Yeah.
I'm actually helping your shop. I'm protecting your brand. Like, what do you mean? No.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I was like, that's your insecurity, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not playing that.
Yeah. But I think that's so cool because that's kind of like for us, like we're talking about, like want the right people.
Talk about
this. Yeah.
It's good to talk
because
about
people
this.
don't talk about it like it's top secret and
like
everything.
It's taboo, or somebody's going to get their feelings hurt, or like read the room. No, kid, read the room. I own this business. I pay the rent on this.
Yeah.
Like I'm the one that's got to come here every day and go home and still feel good about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's kind of where we're like when we're looking at it for a new barber and stuff. We're like, hey, we want someone we're investing in, and they're investing in us because somewhere down the line we want to open up another shop. Both of us can't be there. Someone has to be there, and we want. And then not everyone has that luxury to just go open up their own shop on their own. And if they want to do it, great. Hey, we'll help you because, like we said earlier, competition is not every other barbershop.
Listen, man,
many heads.
The more quality barber shops exist in the market, the better it is
Yep.
for all of us.
Yep.
There is nothing to compete against. There's enough heads to cut. But if we're all doing it right, and we're all treating them good, and we're all pulling on the same rope, no one's gonna suffer.
Yep.
I'm not taking food out of anybody's
Everyone's
mouth.
gonna make money. Yeah.
Everyone's gonna eat tonight.
Yeah.
It's a given.
Yep.
But
too many
it's not
heads.
going to happen if you're being petty about stuff that's inconsequential. Don't get me wrong. I'm cabron, you know.
Yeah.
I like running my mouth at times, but it's also how I test the echo chamber.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean, that's also how I find out what's going on. And I've learned because I sold advertising at a very, very high level. There's a lot of psychology in it.
Yeah.
That I'm not going to touch on it right now because I'll probably sound like crazy, whatever. But it's a lot like playing poker. You know what I mean? And what's the best thing? What's the most fun thing to do when you're playing poker?
Poker face.
Talking shit.
There you go.
Bluff and talking shit.
Yeah.
Because you want to see what's going on. That's how you test the pressure in the room, right?
So it's so funny because my job, I actually work in procurement and supply chain. So I'm always dealing with sales guys, and they always have way more training than us. So you have to learn how to train yourself or find a company that really focuses to train you, because sales guys, you're right. It's all psychology. I used to learn that they would mimic
and styles.
Yep.
It's all about, they know your style.
They know everything about you, and then they try to make you comfortable. They'll say, hey, how was your vacation? Remember your wife's name, your kids' names, everything, because it makes you comfortable. And then sometimes they'll mimic your movement enough that you don't know, because it puts you in a spot that you're comfortable, and then you start letting stuff out.
So I was at, hey, how's your wife? My name.
Yeah.
And how's Ethan, your kid, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he still wears a size 10. Check out these Adidas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would come with gifts.
I once caught us
And after that, like the arms go back. And you know what I mean? And now I'm like, yeah, you're mine, Papa.
So I started. They gave us training where I learned some of that. So like I remember one time I was at dinner with a sales guy, and this was for some medical stuff, and I noticed he started moving the way I was moving. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I caught you, so now I'm gonna mess with you. So I kept like grabbing my burger, and I'd get right to a bite, and I'd just drop it. And he had to drop his steak, and he was just like, he finally realized I knew what he was doing.
Yeah. It's like, I tell people, if you watch Bar Rescue, when John Taffer is trying to sell something to them, he does a lot of this, and he's talking to them, and then you'll see them, they start doing this, and they're talking to him, and they start agreeing with him, because he's just
try this. When you have somebody who's never bought product, but you know that they would like it, and they probably should, but they just don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get them to start answering questions where they say yes.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Just get them to say yes. That's the easiest, and you've heard this before, and you've read it, and you've probably like sat in a seminar at some point where they talked about it. But the power of getting people to say yes can take you right down the road you want.
Yep.
And it's It's not sinister and it's not evil or anything like that. You're making a connection.
No.
And you consider them valuable enough, and I mean, trust me, I get people who I'm like, I hope this guy never comes back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah,
And I get people who are in the chair and like, I'm never coming back to this guy again. You know what I mean? And that's all well and good too.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Well,
that's how it works.
Well, that's what we're talking. There's so many barbershops. If this is not your vibe, there's another barbershop give you quality, and you find the vibe that fits you.
But again, if all the shops pulled on the same rope and they all answered that little voice inside them and did things, and they didn't half step. Like I said, you don't have to compare yourself to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not comparing myself to anybody else. You know what I mean?
Same.
I'm doing me.
Yeah.
This is Puro Handsome way. This is the Puro Handsome experience, and that's what we offer.
Yeah.
It's not the Tommy Gonzales experience
Yeah.
anymore. You know what I mean? When I was just a person in a chair, it was the Tommy Gonzales experience. But I own 2 shops now, and my focus and my passion is the Puro Handsome experience. And luckily, I've got a great staff that gets it and is not opposed to it. And I'm really grateful. I'll tell you, hiring, man, I took people right out of school.
That's
I
kind
took
of
people right out of school, and I was patient with them the way that shop owners that I worked for were not patient with me. I give them support the way the shop owners I worked with did not support me.
Yep.
I do everything different. I do everything completely opposite to the way I was taught. And man, it has been the best thing that's happened. I have a real good staff that I can trust.
nice.
So I'm in the trenches with people that I want to be in the trenches with.
That's cool. Oh, okay. That's cool. No, that's good, man. That's man. I'm just blown away by your story, man.
I know, man.
You gotta say, it's just like it's
gotta
cool
get
because
you
we
back
always,
on.
Gotta make it a two-parter.
Yeah, we gotta make it a two-parter. So
Next time we'll talk about barbering.
well, this kind of leads us into our other section of we're going to be talking about the moisturizers. I know you're launching something as well because one of the things,
a lot of testing. Man.
Yeah, because one of the things that we do is really trying to make men more comfortable with like taking care of themselves. Like,
Absolutely.
Because we kind of. I don't know where you grew up and stuff, but we grew up in a place where that really wasn't it. We didn't moisturize ourselves. Hey, the bar soap that we used on our bodies, we used on our face.
It's
all the
with
same.
the little pelitos on it.
And you know,
That's how you know it's good.
that's how you know it's a good soap. And so we were doing all of that, and then we kind of learned, and like that's why we offer like facials and stuff like that. It's really trying to give people a relaxed setting, like try something new out. And so we've been doing stuff like that. So I mean, I know you were going to talk on moisturizers, but love your input as well.
I'll let Tommy take that because I mean,
What's your recommendation for? Because we've been talking about like just daily routines, right? Like a good cleanser, and then every once in a while a scrub, and then
Sure. I think, okay, so men who shave, forget exfoliating. You never need to exfoliate. If you shave, that's your exfoliation.
Okay.
And we exfoliate, and that's a better exfoliation than anybody could get with any kind of scrub.
Nice.
All right. So if that's a buzzword for you and you shave, you're already doing it.
exfoliate is definitely a buzzword because we were struggling to say it one time. So.
well, now we.
I was struggling to say it, and so exfoliate is definitely a buzzword.
The thing about it was, okay, and this is where I think it's important that barbers and barbershops come into this game, because there's a lot of stuff on the shelves at big box stores that is not good.
Yep.
Got alcohol in it.
Yep.
And it's got really, really intense detergents, heavy detergents that are not good for everybody's skin.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Some people have sensitive skin. Some people
They have more oily skin, so have dry.
So there's a lot. There's a big.
Yeah.
So it's if you just start there and imagine, like, how can this brand really assume that they can account for everybody's skin, right?
Yeah.
So as a barber, you're right there. It's a very intimate service. You're right there with their skin. Barbers need to learn about this, because you will become a person of expertise for them.
Yep.
Right? Trust me, I don't want to go buy anything off the shelves at HEB, or if I can find it all over the place. You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking that's not really for me.
Yeah.
How can that really be for me?
Yeah.
But the first time I had a barber be like, hey, if you use this and yada, 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 and if you pay attention to what you're doing here. And I was like, okay, here's somebody who actually analyzed my skin.
Yeah.
And he's not BSing me. He's sincere enough that he's not BSing me. And the price point is right.
Yep.
That's the other key.
Yep.
Because the salon world and the esthetician world and God bless them. I love their grind and I love their business. But like we are in a lot of ways like doing a lot of heavy lifting by getting men to buy into something that wasn't really taught to them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We're teaching it to them.
Yeah. Especially in the Chicano world.
Yeah, we're teaching it to them. And that's where we need to like really grab hold of that and understand that and not take it lightly.
Yeah.
Because education matters. And the more you educate yourself, the more expert you become on it.
Yep.
And then people trust you.
Yep.
And you're not going to sell them something that's not going to work for them. I don't sell it to a person I sell my own product line right now, and I straight up tell them, they say, I want to have this like dry look and this and that, and like, this is good, right? And I'm like, no, that's not good. That's not going to give you what you want.
Yeah.
That's not going to give you what you want. What you're looking for is this.
Yep.
And then I explain to them, you want a clay pomade because clay removes oil.
Yep.
When you remove oil, your hair gets lighter. Then you get that texture and you get those hair flying away that you like. And that's the style you're looking for. And they're like, yeah, that makes sense. Yep. You know, I tell them, no, this one's heavier. This one's going to slick it down. This one's meant to keep it down. Yep. And that's not what you're looking for. You're trying to get some lift on it. You know what I mean? But one, I didn't make them feel stupid.
Yep.
I told them about something that was specific to them. I explained what was special about my product, that it has clay. I explained why it was special. It removes oil. And the result is that it creates it. It makes your hair lighter and you can create the effect that you want.
Yeah.
All that in just 90 seconds, you know what I mean?
Yep.
While I'm teaching him how to style it. While he's watching it, while he's watching the magic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my favorite is when they're like, I could never do this at home. I'm like, no, you are, because you're going to do this for me.
Yeah.
And I'll do it. I'll mess up their hair and I'll be like, now show me how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And this is where we embrace that education part. We're educators.
Yep.
People got to trust us.
Yep. No, that's cool. That's definitely why we've kind of been breaking it out little by little. And one of the things we tell people is like, go try out some of the different products because it's like everything's going to be different for different skins. Like we can't give general things and then have it expected to fit that person, like you said. Because they say cleanser for all purpose. But again, you may have sensitive skin that may not fit you, so you need to try something different. Try these different things out.
Yeah, and it's more than just cleansing. You got a toner is important.
Toner,
is important, and then you want a moisturizer.
Yep.
And then you want SPF. In this territory, and trust me, I spent 13 years in Las Vegas, which is where I learned to wear SPF daily, because I was having meetings with business owners, right? And at this time I'm like a 29, 30-year-old, executive rep, having cold calling, whatever.
Yeah.
This guy is, he's talking to me, and I'm doing my sales analysis, and then he tells me he's only 34 years old. And I'm like, you look like you're 48. How? What happened? Yeah. Born and raised in Vegas, out in the sun all the time.
Yeah.
Never put any protection on.
Yeah.
Never concerned. Never wore a hat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can see it. And that was for me where I was like, wait, I better pay attention to this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and then stay hydrated. Water.
Yes.
Stay hydrated.
I'm drinking coffee.
I drink a lot of water. I always gotta stay hydrated. Definitely.
I drink 2 waters for every coffee I drink.
There you go.
And I drink a lot of coffee too.
I have my little gallon jug that I take everywhere with me at my house. Kill that in a day. I guess as we're kind of wrapping up here, really appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate being here, man.
Yeah,
Thank you
man.
so much, Sam.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, man. It was cool having you on. Appreciate all the feedback. We're going to have your information. So your barbershop school and stuff like that. So if you guys are wanting to be barbers or something, we'll have that in the...
Yeah, and also, I want to say if there's any student barbers watching or any newly licensed barbers, feel free to come to the shop. I don't mind you shadowing. Yeah. I don't mind sharing what I know. You know what I mean? And I don't mind answering questions.
Yeah.
I don't mind answering questions, and I don't see that enough. So, and when I was teaching, I would always tell my students, they're like, I need you to find a mentor.
Yep.
Go out there and find a mentor, and they'd be like, "You're my mentor." I'm like, "No, that's too easy. I'm your teacher."
Yeah.
But if you come to my shop
Yep.
on a Saturday
Yep.
and sit there for 2 hours and just watch me,
Yep.
then I become your mentor.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I got to see your hustle. You got to get out there and
Yep.
do it. Trust me, no one's coming. No one's looking for you to say, "Come on, Mexico, let me show you. I want to show you all my tips, and I want to share everything with you." I don't got time for that.
Yeah.
But if you care about your career and you care about getting better, and you think you can glean something from me, 100%, come talk to me.
Yeah.
Come talk to me, because I remember when I was at that level and I tried talking to people and they weren't supportive and they weren't cool.
Yeah.
They just weren't cool.
Yeah.
And they weren't wrong. There was nothing that says that they were supposed to be supportive and they were supposed to help me. But
What on the video? Well, we'll finish up with the recording, so we'll just go no video the last few minutes. It's all good.
But yeah, so I just make sure to like all those things that made me feel like this small, all those things that made me feel less than enthusiastic about what I was doing.
Yeah.
I make sure to never ever do that to anybody. I was never going to discourage anybody who's willing to learn. I'm never going to discourage anybody who's willing to like put themselves out there, and if you fail, you get back up.
Yep.
You get back up and you do it again. You do it differently.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I try to do when I'm here with Blue. When I was at the other shop, like if you want, like, because I was always the most busiest barber at the shop. So when I had time and I would sit down, if they wanted to hear me tell them some stuff and like tell them like how I been moving around, like I would do it. I would do it all the time because I tell them like I got my clients. I'm trying to help you build your clientele, and you get that connection. Like, because a lot of them, they just a lot of barbers. I've ran into a lot of barbers that just think they're lazy. They're just like they want to sit down in
quadrant 3.
Yeah, they want to sit in that chair, and they
don't want to know themselves.
Yeah.
They don't want to know what they're capable of.
Yep. They're just like they don't want to try new stuff. They don't want to push themselves to like get their name out there. I'm like, dude, you got to get your name. Like, you have an Instagram, you got 50 followers, and you're sitting there and you're just scrolling through Instagram. Like, start pushing your stuff. It's free, bro. Like, go and push that. I told myself,
I got my license at 41. I just turned 46. I've always said, I'm not going to be cutting at 50.
Yeah.
I'll have shops. I'll own schools. I'll have a product line. I'll have, hopefully, I want the next step after that is a distribution.
Nice.
But I'm not going to be behind the chair.
Yeah.
At 50.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it's below me or beneath me, but that's not my plan.
Yeah.
That's not my plan. That's not my plan for myself.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
And I'm confident saying that. And I say that as an example for people to understand. Now, I'm not saying like, I'm not cutting after 50 because I've done it all and I don't need to. No, I'm not cutting after 50 because my time is going to be spent
on other stuff.
No. That is totally tied to what I did. So it wasn't for nothing.
Yeah.
This was the cornerstone of what I did, of what this is about. And I'm a big believer that I would never ask anybody to do something that I myself haven't done or am willing to do.
And I think that's what people have to kind of look at is like everything's stepping stones and putting it back into it. It's like we haven't been secret about it. The whole point of the podcast is to promote other businesses, but it promotes our business too. It's building our network out. And that's the whole point of it. We're helping others, but hey, there's a little bit for us too. That's part of it.
We need to get to that point where there's no shame in promoting yourself.
Yeah.
There's no shame in promoting yourself.
No. Yeah. Building bridges is a two-way street.
Yeah.
We're not building bridges. We're building a community.
Yeah.
If all of us agree to this and we're all pulling on the same rope, then we've got a community of barbers that is servicing the city.
Yep.
At a level that they deserve.
Yep.
Yeah.
And even going beyond that, it's a community of small businesses that continue to grow. And I think that's sometimes, and we talked about this in one of the other podcasts, is like the American dream. Sometimes we got lost in what that is. And I think becoming a business owner, even if you're working a corporate job, but having something on the side that is additional income that you're passionate, but you can make money off of, like that.
Let me ask you this: what's your version of the American dream?
My version of the American dream?
If you had to say it in like 2 or 3 sentences, what's your version of the American dream?
I've been saying this for a while. Generational wealth.
Generational wealth is
Being able to provide generational wealth for my family, and that comes in different ways: businesses, investments, property, all those things.
How about you, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, generational wealth. That's why we always push, like, because like I don't have a kid, but I have a nephew, and I want him to be at least where he can dip into what we've been making, and not only us, but like people that aren't even like related to us, but have that same type of mindset, have that same type of connection, like where it spreads out, and we like a community. Like I'm not only successful, we're all successful. That's what I.
What about you?
To be able to do what I want with who I want, where I want, when I want.
Nice.
That's my version of the American.
Yeah.
And in all of that, I'm not hurting anybody.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
And that involves planning and generational wealth. And I'm the same. I don't have kids. I'm not likely to have kids.
Yeah.
That doesn't change my
view on it.
My view or my hustle or my plan at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't have kids either, and like it's part of like what you said. Like for me, I always told myself, corporate America, I like what I do. The moment I don't like what I do, I'll find another job. But I like what I do, and my ultimate dream is I have enough money where everything's working itself, generational wealth. And I like doing coffee. I said I would one day want to have a coffee shop that just runs itself, where I can serve people coffee, because I like just having the good. I know I'm going to drink coffee the rest of my life,
right?
And I like making good coffee. And so to me, I was like, hey, I want to be able to serve coffee for the guy who's homeless coming in to the executive guy that walks into the place. Sure. And so it's like stuff like that. We think about things like that. So that's cool. All right, hey man, we appreciate you being on. I think we're gonna have to do a segment 2 on this, man.
whatever you want. Whatever
really loving this, man.
Like I said, I mean, I love that you guys are into promoting local business, and if you want to talk to me about helping with the podcast or finding more local businesses for you, I can help with that as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I sold local business for many years.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of cold calling. Like I remember where they were just like, "You ready for your sales list?" I was like, "Yeah," and they threw the yellow pages at me.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Go to work."
Here you go.
and I looked at them and they were like, "Foo, everybody in this book owns a business.
Yeah.
Go talk to them." All right, here we go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
Well, we'll definitely take you up on that advice, because we're always expanding it. We have a few.
I would recommend, because they're nearby.
Yeah.
And it'd probably be a really, really interesting interview. Get a bail bondsman on here.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be dope.
Let me tell you, because bail bonds was a category that I used to sell local, and it's awesome, man. There's so much in it. Like, nobody plans to go to jail.
Yeah.
And if you do, you've got a lawyer already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if that's your onda and you're getting arrested all the time, you've got a lawyer.
Yeah.
But you don't need a bondsman. You got a lawyer. But nobody ever plans to get arrested.
Yeah.
Nobody ever says, "I'm going getting arrested."
Yeah.
You know
tonight, I need a bail bond.
But when it happens,
when
it happens, you need to know who to call, how to call them, and what they want from you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is scary for some people, and that makes things really, really hard.
Yeah. No.
And let me tell you, man, people get arrested for stupid things. All right, I'm one of those people. Stupid does not discriminate.
Yeah.
Stupid doesn't care if you're rich, poor, black, white, Asian, Mexican. It doesn't care, because we were all in there.
Yeah.
We were all in there, and we all had to call a bail bondsman. And I was laughing because I used to sell advertising and do marketing for bail bondsmen. So I'm on the other side now, like, damn.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah. That's,
you know, I'm calling and I'm like, "I know what you need. Hang on, here's my credit card." And they're like, "You have it memorized?" I was like, "Yep."
we're gonna have to definitely hit up a Bell's Ball. We had a
that's a good indication of local business and what's happening in the community.
Yeah, we had a guy recently who was doing towing. He started his own towing business, and the stories he was telling was just like, oh man.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, man. And a bail bondsman loves. Listen, like I said, nobody This is how you get them on. You tell them like nobody plans to go to jail, man. But if somebody listens to our podcast and they remember that you were on here, and it happens to them, they're like, I'm calling that dude from the podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know it's gonna happen to somebody.
Absolutely.
No,
especially in
doesn't discriminate.
Yeah. Hey man, we appreciate
all types of people walking in the barbershop, so they're gonna be watching.
Yeah.
Well, definitely, man. Appreciate your wisdom. Your stuff has been good. So we'll definitely look at reconnecting and doing some more. And with that,
Local love is forever.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.